Hello, my name is Kevin Sears, and I am the 2024 president of the National Association of Realtors. It's been several weeks since my last on the road video, and a lot has been happening. Today, I'd like to touch on a couple of things. Our settlement that you've recently heard about, as well as our continuing political and policy advocacy. But before I do that, I just want to say thank you to all of the members across the country who reached out to me and showed the love and support when they heard about the passing of my first broker, my first mentor in life and in business, my father, Realtor Emeritus Paul Sears. He's the one that first taught me about the importance of the Realtor family, and you all came through and proved him right. So I'd like to say on behalf of myself and my family, thank you. Now, on to the settlement. We all have heard what is going on. I just want to let you know there was no perfect option. Despite what people may have said, we've always been open to settlement. In fact, we had conversations, settlement talks before the trial, during the trial, and obviously after the trial. And once the verdict came down, we were left with three options. Ultimately, two of them were untenable for different but similar reasons. The first option, appeal. And while we felt that we would have been successful on appeal, we would have had to post up to a $5.4 billion bond, which the National Association of Realtors just did not have the resources to do. That could have forced us to file Chapter 11 bankruptcy. Second, if we went on appeal, this would have left all of our members, brokers, and associations and MLSs that are in copycat suits vulnerable and still having to defend their case. So then that leads to bankruptcy. And at the end of the day, bankruptcy was just not something that we could do to the association. It would have just had too big an implication for our ability to be able to continue on and be as effective as we have. So that leaves settlement. Now in the settlement, there are a couple of key pieces. One is financial, the other is rules. Let's talk about the financial aspect. The association has agreed to pay $418 million over the next 4 years. The leadership team and the finance committee will be looking into how we can make sure that we not only meet the obligation to pay that amount, but we continue to be able to provide the tools, resources, programs, and advocacy that our members have come to expect. Now let's talk about the rules, and there's two in particular. The first is that we will be changing the rule that will prohibit the offer of cooperating compensation on the MLS. Please hear me clearly. You will still be able to offer compensation to a buyer broker. It just cannot be conveyed on the MLS. And if there's one thing I know about members, they will figure out how to efficiently communicate the information to see if there will be any cooperating compensation. The second rule is that if you are a Realtor MLS participant, you will need to make sure you have a written agreement when you are representing a buyer. This is something that the National Association has talked about for years, and it is good practice. Now it will become a rule. And as far as I'm concerned, anytime we have the opportunity to have additional conversations and explain our value and worth to the consumer, that will be a good thing for all of us. Now let me talk about policy and advocacy update. This week, we're having a conversation with around 1,000 members. And we're hearing from not only elected officials, policy advisors, and political pundits to figure out what's going to happen this year, 2024, a very important election year. We're also continuing our advocacy in Washington, D.C. And over the last few weeks, I was able to fly into D.C. a couple of times. Once I met with my member of Congress, who is the ranking member of the House Ways and Means Committee, Congressman Richie Neal. And we had important conversations about the National Flood Insurance Program, the 30-year fixed rate mortgage, the importance of Fannie and Freddie to our industry and FHA, as well as tax incentives and tax benefits to real property ownership. In fact, this week, we'll also have one of our own, Dr. Jessica Lautz, testifying before the Housing Subcommittee on Capitol Hill. So just know that we are doing everything we can to continue to advocate for your ability to help buyers, sellers, tenants, and landlords all across our great country. So that's it for now. You can bet that I'll have another update coming down soon enough. And until then, take care.